Hello, Crystal Palace, and welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Live Lunch. This is a place to share positive and local information and find out about our wonderful community in greater depth and try to keep us all connected during this time. We are joined today by Sabera Bham, and Sabera created home learning in lockdown. Do you want to say hello, Sabera?
Hello, hi, thanks for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. Sabera, do you want to explain what home learning in lockdown is?
I set up this group on Facebook called Home Learning in Lockdown, and I've invited people to share their photos of learning in lockdown. So it's could be photos of homeschooling, photos of anything you've really learned, any new skills. Maybe you've been sort of reigniting some hobbies, some creative projects or practical projects. So it's inviting people to share it, and the idea is to have an online exhibition of all the photos, and hopefully trying to apply for some funding to possibly sort of do a book as well of all the photos.
Lockdown has been the time to, well, for some people anyway, a time to upskill and learn a new craft. I feel like there was quite a lot of pressure. I don't know, I guess if you're looking at social media and you're like, oh gosh, someone has a sourdough starter, and like, was that how it kind of started for you? Were you seeing everyone doing things before, let me start a project?
I think it came more out of, well, initially I did a project where I set a challenge for my friends and family on Easter Monday and invited them all to send a photo that was taken on that day that portrayed sort of lockdown for them. So lots of people sent me photos and I created a collage. And from that, I decided to do a few other sort of offshoot projects. And one of them is home learning in lockdown, because I suppose many people, especially parents, we've spent a lot of time homeschooling. Initially, the project was going to be more about homeschooling in lockdown, so photos of the different types of homeschooling that you've done. But then I decided to incorporate learning sort of in a wider scope. So it can be learning that adults have done as well, like you were saying, you know, sort of a lot of people have been doing creative projects. I've seen on some Facebook groups where people have built, I don't know, swimming pools in their gardens and all sorts that they've managed to do in lockdown. And I think, wow, that's amazing. I've just managed to put the laundry away today. And that's been an achievement for me. So it was looking at, what other people have done as well. Also, a friend of mine, she started doing mandala patterns on stones as a way, I think, using art as a therapy to sort of cope with what's going on and escape maybe as well. The beautiful, beautiful patterns. And that's where I had the idea of incorporating learning, so that adults can hopefully post on the group as well, things that they've learned or new skills that they've sort of adopted, that sort of thing, really.
It's great because when you first mentioned the project, my brain did go to homeschooling, and it's kind of highlighting the fact that like learning doesn't stop like at a certain age. We'll be continuously learning the whole time. What do you think was one of the biggest things you might have learned in lockdown?
Gosh. Learning in lockdown. For me, well, I suppose I've learned to appreciate sort of simpler things, and where lockdown has given a lot of people more time. I wouldn't say specifically I've had more time. I've had two children to look after, so that's taken up most of my time. But in terms of, I think, looking at, like, for example, just with all the shops, most of the shops that were closed, you start appreciating simple things in life, or the things that you need rather than things that you want. So you may go out shopping and just buy what you can, because half the things you can't buy anyway. But I suppose, yeah, it's learning to appreciate the simpler things. And what I've actually enjoyed about lockdown is having less pressure to be somewhere or to be doing things, because, well, most things have been closed. But it's given us time to maybe reflect a bit more about what things are important to us. Yeah. What about you? Have you felt that? Have you had much time to sort of reflect or learn about maybe new things?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I completely agree with what you said earlier with it's about the small things, like doing your laundry for the day, like celebrating those small things, because I would never celebrate those things before. They were just things that I had to do on the side of things that, like, I was constantly forward thinking about doing, and it definitely gave me the chance to kind of not reset, but just reflect and think about what I actually want to do and who I want to be. And sorry, my cat just meowed right in my face. And yeah, it was just kind of a chance to reset for me, and also having like a community around me. I don't know about you, but I joined my local WhatsApp group, and then suddenly I became very like localized. Like, it's quite easy with social media and everything to think very far afield, and like you're looking at people that live in New York and Los Angeles and like thousands of miles away, and comparing your life to that. And now, like, I have a few streets around me and a WhatsApp group for it, and suddenly everything's kind of gone, and it's so much nicer.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing, is learning to appreciate your local area, because with the restrictions that we were under, spending more time in the local area, like with walks, rediscovering, when we rediscovered our woods, the local woods, which has been amazing. We spent a lot of time there. And even on the group, you'll see quite a lot of local people. They've posted pictures of spending a lot more time outdoors. A lot of learning has been done outdoors, which has been great, because it's embracing your sort of nature, and learning from everyday things rather than the traditional sort of forms of learning as well. So I think, people have, definitely learned quite a lot about their local area and being connected more to their community. That's been really nice. And maybe going out and doing the clap as well. We've sort of seen some neighbours we've never seen before. And then on the Thursday night, when you all go out to clap, you see people that you'd never seen before as well, and they only live on your doorstep. So that's been quite nice as well, to reconnect with your local area, local people, your neighbours. That's been good.
I remember the first clap very well, because the feeling, I guess, like the collective feeling, it was very inspiring, and you could feel the love and the support around you. And yeah, just standing on your doorstep, and you're like, a few of my neighbours I know, so it's like hi, but then like you're waving at other people, and it's everyone facing each other, and you're being supportive of each other, and you're thinking about each other. Like, yeah, that was one of the big positives as
well, wasn't it? It's quite an emotional. I found them quite emotional, because I think it sort of made you remember what was happening, and people that were working in the hospitals, and just key workers that are still out there, and sort of making our lives sort of tick. So it was quite emotional as well. A few times we managed to, when the children were not in bed, they came out and clapped with us as well, which was really nice. So that's good. And it was nice to hear fireworks and drumming and pots and pans. Yeah. I don't know if you had much of that as well.
Yeah, every week it escalated. So by the third week there was vuvuzelas, pots and pans, people had speakers out there. It
Yeah.
was funny because my sister is a nurse, and she'd like come back from work just a few moments before and like was in her nurse uniform, so she came out, and then a woman literally who lives opposite us was in her nurse uniform, and they were both like, it was even it highlights a terrible time and the struggle that everyone's facing. It was definitely like a lovely moment between them because they kind of recognized each other, and then everyone was kind of clapping at them, and it was just like,
yeah, it's nice community spirit, wasn't it?
definitely. With the home learning in lockdown project, what, like, so previously to lockdown, like, were you doing something like this that might have influenced this project now?
Well, I've been working as a photographer for a long time. With having two children, I've taken some time out and sort of restarted in November. But it wasn't art-based projects. It was more sort of working for clients and that. And I think this is where lockdown did give me the opportunity to, because on a normal basis, as a photographer, I would want to be going out and documenting, photographing people and documenting what was happening. And I did some of that. I did some doorstep portraits and documented a few voluntary projects that were going on. But with restrictions, obviously, you weren't able to get out further afield. And that's why I thought the initial challenge, the where I invited friends and family, was because I couldn't go out and document what was happening in their lives. And I thought, well, the next thing to do is invite them to actually post a photo. And then out of that, I had the idea of home learning in lockdown. And again, instead of me going out and documenting different families doing home learning, it was asking for people to post their photos, which makes it quite nice as well because they get to select what they want to post, and getting sort of images from different viewpoints as well, which is nice. Yeah.
Definitely makes it a kind of collaborative experience, and you're also kind of inspiring them to
Yeah.
do something because they might not have thought to do it, and then you get to collect it all as well, and it's going to be like a chunk of history, like you're always going to look back at it. When we just say Patrick Brassill, he says, I'm in total agreement with you two ladies. Life is always open to learning and relearning, which, yeah, it's true.
Absolutely. And I think that's it. Lockdown has, gifted people with time in a way to, like you were saying as well, to reflect and to find out where you want to be, where you may want to go. A time to sit down and do things that you're constantly rushing. Everyone's constantly rushing around, being here, going out to work, and you've had more time to maybe start doing some painting or writing, anything. It's it's been a good time, I think, for people in that sense.
Now that lockdown is, it's lifting, it's not completely like it's not like it's over, it's not a part of history yet, but now that you can go outside more, how is that going to affect this project? Like, are you still active on the Facebook, or is it become something that what's the word, like you're turning into a book or something?
Well, I have to say, keeping the momentum going on the group, this is very new for me. I'm not really savvy on Facebook as much as sort of a lot of people, and so setting up this group has come with its own challenges, because it's keeping the momentum going in a group and posting regularly, and sort of having 2 children at home and feeling constantly tired. It's I think that's where I think I have to be a bit more disciplined in that sense, to try and post more regularly and keep that going. The other thing is, obviously, that we're going back to school in a couple of weeks, and so it's looking at maybe involving other countries. Like I've joined some American groups, American sort of parent groups, and they've all recently gone back to school. However, where we were in sort of March, where the schools had closed down, a lot of the states' schools, that they're doing home learning. So this is an opportunity for me to try and connect with those groups, and hopefully I would love it if it had like a global input, really. So it's not specifically based in the UK. It would be from sort of families and people all over the world posting on it. So that's my next challenge, really, is to try and liaise and sort of collaborate with other countries through, I think at the moment, I'm thinking through Facebook groups might be the way forward. I'm not sure, if I'll have to do a bit of research to see if there's any other ideas. So that's the next step. And in terms of the book, I mean, that's an ambition that I have, and that'll be looking for some funding, hopefully, to help me along with that. Initially, the idea is to collate all the images, and I don't have a deadline as yet, to collate the images and then have an online exhibition. And if possible, there are other ideas I have. I would love for it to be exhibited in the gallery as well. So these are things I can work towards.
And these are things that I think can definitely happen. With you're saying about taking it kind of global and connecting with other groups online, I think that can totally happen, because it's a collective experience, you know, everyone, like so many people, are parents going through the homeschooling and then taking that to the home learning where everyone's partaking in that. Don't see why you couldn't connect with people. That's what the internet's for these days, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's finding the time, and then finding new ways. It's a very new way for me. Projects that I've done in the past, quite a long time ago, I was doing a lot of art-based projects, and this was sort of pre-Facebook time, you know, pre-Facebook groups and that. So it's all new. It's learning for me as well. This is what I'm learning, how to use social media to help create a new piece of artwork. You know, collaborating with people rather than creating the artwork myself. It's asking for people to submit their photos, and hopefully we create an artwork together.
How about if anyone watching this live would like to get involved, where do they find you?
If they go to Facebook and type Home Learning in Lockdown, the group comes up. It's a private group, and then I can sort of I'll accept any invites to the group, and you come along and post some photos. That would be great. We want more people to post. And so initially I had set it up geared more towards homeschooling, but what I've done in the past few weeks is look at, like as I was saying, learning on a wider scope. And so I will be posting a new flyer as well, which explains a bit more, that it includes home learning and learning that adults have done as well as children. So hopefully we'll get a lot more sort of people submitting to it as well.
What just a thought, what do your children, you said you have 2 children,
Yeah,
what have they contributed? Have they been excited about the project?
yeah, well, with what we've done with the homeschooling side, like with my son, I mean, he's in reception, so thankfully that wasn't so much pressure, but there's still quite a lot of work we had to do. And writing was always a challenge. So it was looking at new ways that we could do the learning, and in terms of storytelling. So as a family, we would all sort of get together and recreate stories using drama, dressing up. So that was great, because with my 2-year-old as well, it involved all of us. So that's been good fun. Learning life skills. We've done a lot of life skills lessons. Helping mummy clean. That's all life skills. A lot of cooking. We've done a few bits of science experiments as well. So it's been a variety of things really, and lots of walks, looking at nature and learning from that as well. The different elements.
I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but what I've gathered, we're talking about learning here, but so many people with children in this time have had to learn to become the teacher, even though without realizing you are the primary teacher of your children. It's actually seeing how to formulate this and structure a child's day towards school. It's a challenge, it seems. Was it a challenge for you, or did it just happen?
It came with its challenges and definitely struggles. The struggles of getting your 5-year-old to sit down and write. That's I think I decided not to get too stressed about it, and sort of encourage. Obviously, there were things that I felt my son had to continue with. But in terms of being too pushy on other things, I think we went out a lot and did a lot of walks and tried to learn with our environment around us. So we could do maths looking at door numbers or objects. It's trying to incorporate learning, but using the outdoors as well, which makes it more fun rather than sitting down and writing. It's finding new ways of learning, really, for us. That's what it was, because the challenge was getting my 5-year-old to sit down and write. He loves maths and enjoyed a lot of other things, but the writing was always sometimes came with tears and tantrums from both of us. And then with my 2-year-old as well, so to try and keep and I'm sure for a lot of parents, when you have more than one child, is trying to have the balance with both of them, trying to teach both of them or trying to tend to both of them. That's it's been interesting. Tested my patience. Yeah.
Well, from what you're saying, it seems like you're doing a great job at it.
I don't know about that. We'll wait and see when he gets back to school. Although, when he was asked the other day if he's looking forward to going back to school, he said, "No, I like my school here." I said, "No, this school's closed down. The teachers left."
I think that's better than an Ofsted report. You passed. You did it.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be that'll be a challenge as well. The whole transition, which I think when you were saying about the lockdown restrictions being lifted, and this whole sort of new norm, and I think for children going back to school who've been off since March, that will be that'll be interesting. Although at the same time, children are very adaptable. They can adapt to situations. I think a lot sort of they embrace new situations really a lot more than adults, I think. Less set in our ways.
I feel like it's hard. I've seen a lot of children greet each other and they're from a distance and they've learned these things. They've kind of learned it quite quickly, whereas adults are like, "Oh, do I hug you? Can I not? I don't know."
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Sabera, for coming to talk to us. If anyone wants to get involved with Sabera's project, it's the Home Learning in Lockdown on Facebook. I'm sure she would love to have you collaborating with her. Tonight, live from the library, we have the Covers Cafe at 8 p.m. So join us on this channel. If you want to be featured on the Library Live Lunch yourself, please get in touch. Our info email will be on the chat here. We've got the All Alone Together project with the Library Hub. So if you want to get involved with that, please get in touch. And if you have any tech issues, we have the Clear Community Web, which is here to help anyone if they want to figure out how to use Zoom, etc., etc. All of these new normal things that we are having to learn here. And yeah, we've got our campaign, and you'll see the box, I think, down here. So if you want to donate to the library, please do. The number to text will be in the chat as well. And yeah, just thank you again to Sabera. It was lovely talking to you.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. And we'll see you guys next week, next Monday. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Bye.